You see, hope isn't in the ether. Hope exists. Hope is as real as the hands in front of my face. Sometimes you have to find it in the darkest of your hours, but it is there. The light at the end of your tunnel exists. You just haven't walked far enough to reach it. Just because you're in a world of pain today does not mean you don't get to have that beautiful tomorrow. But friend, you got to be here to get there in the first place.
Kevin Hines, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Tommy. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Our pleasure. Looking forward to chatting. Just for the audience, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and a bit about what you're doing?
Sure. So you've got my name, Kevin Hines, and I am a brain health advocate, filmmaker, and an author. I travel the world sharing stories of hope, healing, and recovery from brain pain, what most people term as mental health crisis or mental illness. And I share my journey of living with bipolar depression and my subsequent attempt of suicide off the Golden Gate Bridge, my survival, and my journey to recovery and my journey into storytelling around the world, trying to help other people who are in pain stay right here.
Wow, that's... First, let me just say we're so glad that you're here today, and so glad that you've decided to spend this chapter of your life really helping bring awareness to such an important cause and help people overcome such a difficult health issue. I'd like to kind of follow your journey from coming to that moment on the bridge, and then how you kind of got yourself to this place where you got your arms around it, so to speak, or at least found coping mechanisms that worked for you that you might like to share with everyone. And then lastly, how you brought all of this full circle to a place where you started an online community, that you started spreading awareness for this super important issue, and kind of just walk us through that journey if you could.
Absolutely. So let's start from the day of the bridge. I went to the bridge on September 25th of the year 2000, 23 years ago this month. My anniversary was just a couple days ago. And yes, I did leap off that bridge. 99.9% of the people who have leapt off that bridge are gone. They never again get to tell their stories. In the water, a sea lion kept me afloat until the Coast Guard boat arrived, saving my life. The Coast Guard boat arrived secondarily, saving my life. One of the foremost back surgeons in the world saved me the ability to stand, walk, and run through an incredible invented back surgery that he'd never done on anybody else. He's since done that same back surgery on 13 other people, saving their lives. So it's set a precedent. And going from that situation to the hospital, recovering physically, going into my first psych ward, 10 subsequent psych ward stays after that. After that third psych ward stay, I started creating for myself what I call the art of wellness. I built and created a mental health emergency plan and a 10-step regimen to better brain, mind, behavior, mental, spiritual, physical health, and well-being. I designed it because I had read an article that routine and regimen benefit brain health and brain pain more than anything else. So mental illness is very, very supported and controlled by regimen and routine. And so I created one for myself, and then I shared it with the world on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kevin Hines, called The Art of Wellness 2.0, a 10-step regimen and routine that is being followed by thousands of people around the world, from as far as Peru, Africa, China, Japan, Canada, UK, Ireland, and beyond. And people are saying that in 6 to 9 months of following this very strict regimen and routine, they see a dramatic improvement in their overall brain health. So I didn't just go from that situation and then disappear and just go do my own thing. I was encouraged by 2 clergymen to share my story. And in sharing my story and learning how to get my feet on the ground sturdily, I realized that the messages I'm giving people could help a lot of people change their lives. And over the last 23 years of doing this work, because I started 7 months after my first attempt, off the Golden Gate Bridge, I started speaking about my story. In 23 years of doing this work, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have written to me to say this story saved their life. Whether they saw it in a video, whether they saw the movie Suicide, The Ripple Effect, that's been seen by 2 million people in 20 different countries and translated to several different languages. However they found the story, they did. And I just felt as I grew into this journey that I can't stop talking about it because it's having such a tremendous effect, a ripple effect. And we want to share this story as far and wide as we can so we can get as many people back on their feet as possible and let them know that they matter, how much we care about them, and how much suicide is not the answer.
I'm wondering, what is that first step to asking people for help? What does someone who's in that place, that dark place, what should they do in that moment that would make their life forever different?
And in saying that, if you are out there and you are considering suicide, you're thinking about taking your life, about leaving this world and your family and your friends and your peers and your colleagues forever, stop. Take a breath. Take 40 more resonance breaths. Inhale 4 through your nose, hold for 4 seconds, release 6 to 8 seconds, pursed lips like a whistle but no sound. Do it 40 times. Sit on the edge of your bed, sit in a chair, just breathe. When you're done with that, recognize this. We're all going to pass away someday. None of us have cracked the code to immortality. Give yourself time plus hard work to find hope for things to change. You see, hope isn't in the ether. Hope exists. Hope is as real as the hands in front of my face. Sometimes you have to find it in the darkest of your hours, but it is there. The light at the end of your tunnel exists. You just haven't walked far enough to reach it. Just because you're in a world of pain today does not mean you don't get to have that beautiful tomorrow. But friend, you got to be here to get there in the first place. So be here tomorrow and every day after that, fight your internal pain and recognize that just because you're struggling doesn't mean you don't get to have beautiful, loving, caring relationships, hope in your heart, and a wonderful, thriving existence. Pain is inevitable. It's coming for all of us if it hasn't already. Suffering can be optional, a choice. Think about that. Every clinician I used to have told me I was suffering from bipolar, suffering from mental illness, suffering from depression, suffering from eating disorders when I was, as a high school wrestler, big time. It was part of the culture. Suffering, they all told me. What did I do? I adopted that narrative as my own. I became a sufferer, a victim of my story. But that only made me the victim. That only left me in victimhood. And even if anybody in this who's watching this right now has been victimized by someone or something, if you stay in victimhood, if you stay a sufferer, my friend, that's all you'll ever be. You'll never overcome, you'll never achieve, you'll never thrive. But if you look at yourself and you change your perspective, you change your perception, and you say, no, I'm not a sufferer, I am no victim, I am overcoming my pain and my challenges so I can thrive. I'm not going to let my pain defeat me and destroy me. I'm going to let it build me brick by brick from the ground up until I'm stronger than ever. It's a choice you're making. It's a choice you can make right now. And it's a choice you have to make every single day.
Absolutely incredible. I do like how you, just to backtrack a little bit, it's your self-talk, I noticed, as you were kind of explaining it, seems like it's a mantra, it sounds like you say often, because I can hear it just flows very well, almost like your programming, your mindset, which I really like that because as you're aware and as our program is trying to spread awareness for, you are your mindset, and you should program it to do things that make you able to overcome challenges and help you to, as our superhero Teddy Bear always says, to see the adventure in all that you do. And those are the kinds of thoughts that lead to a conducive mindset. And if you don't victimize yourself, right, like bad things are going to happen to all of us, right? The only thing that you can control is how you react to them. And having the ability to see the opportunity or the the positive side of things in each circumstance. If you can find a little victory in each thing, no matter how small, you can actually feel better in a lot of ways.
What we recite about ourselves, what we repeat about ourselves, is what we will believe about ourselves. It's all about mindset. It's all about perspective. It's all about perception. Every one of us has a dark side. Don't pretend it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that what you've gone through is not real, important, meaningful, hurtful, damaged you, traumatized you. I am asking you to take it, harness it, and let it build you into something greater. Let it make you better. Let it make you achieve more. And so that's how I look at life and all the things I've been through, from my traumatic infancy and being born and living in crack motels in the beginning of my life, to being fed Kool-Aid, Coca-Cola, and sour milk from birth, to my gut being ravaged and my brain being destroyed and me being mentally ill from the very beginning of my life, to now, to struggling with suicidal ideation on a regular basis, to struggling with panic distress and mania and depression and all of these symptoms. I don't let them defeat me. I let them help me grow, and I read everything about them that I can, so I know how to fight them the best that I can.
Truer words have never been spoken. And actually, the statement beckons another question, which I wonder if you might share with us. I know obviously you've got a lot of tools in your toolbox for keeping yourself on the path, and I'm wondering, when you lose track of that, or when you've lost track in the past before, who are some of the people or groups or places that maybe you turn to help influence you to be more positive and kind of shake yourself out of that rut, for lack of a better word?
My wife, and certainly Louie, and some other handful of other folks, but there are a lot of organizations I turn to guide other people in pain to safety. So those as well.
Are there any that you'd like to name specifically for maybe someone who may not
Sure.
have the good fortune for someone they can pick up the phone and call at this moment in time?
Absolutely. So NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness, NAMI.org, they do a great work with their living rooms and their family-to-family courses. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the Crisis Lifeline 988, the text line, texting CNQR to 741-741 has been very helpful for a lot of the people I serve in America. Suicide.org for international calls of mental health, but also just in general, the International Bipolar Foundation, and places like the Mental Health Association, Mental Health America. I could go on forever. The Bridge Rail Foundation. And I say that very lovingly, because my father co-founded the Bridge Rail Foundation with Paul Muller and Dave Hall. Dana Whitmer was one of their greatest board members. I was a founding board member, and this group got together in 2006. And we fought for all these years to raise a net at the Golden Gate Bridge to effectively finally stop the suicides there. As of December of this year, not one more person will ever again die off the Golden Gate Bridge, and it will become the largest, brightest, and most powerful beacon for suicide prevention around the world.
Kevin Hines, thank you so much for stopping in today and telling us what a lot of people need to hear. I found this extremely informative and very, very useful for a lot of people, as well as myself. So thank you so much for coming to chat with us today and sharing such an important story and a lot of very helpful tools and practices. It was very educational, and thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me. Take care.